time to wake up. It's Saturday morning. Find some milk and cereal. Grab a bowl and spoon. No, a bigger spoon. Head to the living room and take a seat on the floor while Joseph and Chris present to you Saturday Morning Cartoon!
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Cartoon Boom! This is a show where we wake up with the Saturday morning sun, pop on the floor with a big bowl of sugary cereal, watch all your favorite cartoons, both old and new. I'm Joseph.
Rawr! I'm Chris. That's my Godzilla.
Was that Godzilla himself?
Rawr!
Uncanny. Just like the movies.
You can't tell the difference.
Nope. And this morning, for the first episode of our OCTOONBER celebration, we watched Godzilla!
And Godzuki!
Yeah. So who suggested this to us?
This was suggested to us by David Brown via YouTube. Thank you, David.
Thanks, David. So this version of Godzilla aired in 1978 to 1979, based on, obviously, Godzilla by Toho. This version was developed by Dick Robbins and Dwayne Poole, produced by Hanna-Barbera Productions, ran for 2 seasons, 26 episodes, and the networks that originally ran on were NBC in the US and Tokyo Channel 12 in Japan. And for a short synopsis, written by Kenneth Chisholm, because of course he had to jump in here.
He's back. The algorithm has returned.
Back. Algorithm returns. The crew of the research vessel, the Calico, investigate strange phenomena and often meet menaces that force them to summon Godzilla for help.
But pretty much only in the Arctic Ocean.
These are pretty much like all sea monsters.
Yes.
Kind of. But some of them are from like the moon, but then they become sea monsters. I don't know.
Sea monsters. Sea moonsters?
We should say right off the bat, like, none of these are any of the Godzilla monsters that you would recognize or care about.
If you went into this being like, oh man, I'm really excited to see animated versions of everything I love about Godzilla, you're wrong. You're dead wrong.
So who are some of the actors who played in this show?
So Godzilla's noises were voiced by Ted Cassidy. Now, this guy's interesting, though. Like, I was pretty infatuated with his acting career. He played Lurch in The Addams Family in 1964. So this is the original Lurch.
Yep.
And then he returned to voice that character for the animated series in 1973, which is really awesome. I didn't realize that he both played and voiced the same character. So all those good old grunts. But he also, this is just funny. He also voiced Officer Big Mac for all the McDonald Land stuff.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, isn't that great? And now I kind of want a Big Mac. And then, I mean, he's done a big variety of things in television and, cartoons and stuff. But he was also both the narrator and made all the Hulk noises for the Incredible Hulk live action TV series in 1977. So wasn't Lou Ferrigno making those noises when it was Lou Ferrigno on screen? It was actually Ted Cassidy going, "Arr! Ah! Somewhere on a microphone.
I wonder if his Hulk sounds like his Godzilla did, since that came right before this one.
It's got to be the same.
Yeah.
I wonder if maybe they were just like, oh man, yeah, that was real good. Let's see if we can borrow those sound clips, and then we'll just go ahead and we'll give him credit. Maybe they just borrowed it straight out of there. I don't know.
He didn't even have to come on set ever.
Yeah, they never
just
saw
paid
him
him for his Hulk voice. Yeah,
never saw him. Captain Carl Majors was voiced by Jeff David, who hasn't done a whole lot of animation, but he did voice characters in Jaina of the Jungle from 1978. I think that was Jaina and not Jana. I'm not really sure. And then Spider-Man from 1981. Now, he wasn't Spider-Man. He just voiced several characters in Spider-Man from 1981. The character of Pete was voiced by Al Eisenman, who didn't have a huge acting career, but he's had a huge career in the art departments of various television programs for the majority of his adult life. Dr. Quinn Darien was voiced by Brenda Thompson. That would be the character of Pete's aunt. Brock was voiced by Hilly Hicks. And Godzuki. If you're wondering why the character of Godzuki sounds so much like Scooby-Doo, that's because it's the voice of Scooby-Doo. Don Messick, he was the original Scooby-Doo.
Yep.
And uses the exact same voice as Scooby-Doo for Godzuki. I was very thrown off the first time we heard Godzuki making noises, and I was like, wait, what? Well, this is Scooby.
Yeah, it's basically Scooby-Zuki.
Scoobzuki. Yeah. So there's your main cast.
And for a few tasty marshmallows over a big bowl of Godzilla cereal, Godzilla shows off many new special abilities that he didn't have in the films, such as shooting lasers out of his eyes and breathing fire instead of radioactive rays. These changes were met with mostly negative reactions from the hardcore fans. I can't imagine why.
No way.
It just, like, why not, at the very least, why not just make the fire blue, to try to make it seem like plasma instead?
I don't know.
Why? And why the Cyclops eyes? I don't get it.
Well, that was weird.
Or the Superman eyes, rather.
Yeah, he did have the Superman laser vision thing. That was interesting. I was waiting for him to show off like some new things like Superman had too, like he's powered by the sun or something.
I mean, he's got his super strength. That's about it.
That's true. Which doesn't do him
but
that
that's
much
just
good.
He's so big. Yeah.
All of these other monsters in like every episode, he almost loses every time.
Yeah. A lot of times it's like Godzuki pulling a snarf, helping everybody out by pure coincidence.
Pretty much.
The show is so well known in the UK that when director Gareth Edwards was working on Godzilla 2014, his British friends would mockingly refer to his movie as Godzuki and ask whether Godzilla's cartoon nephew would be appearing in it. So I didn't realize that. I didn't know that it was so big in the UK.
Wait a minute. Okay, if Godzuki is Godzilla's nephew, that implies that Godzilla also has...
He's got to have a brother or a sister.
Yeah, and an in-law, So where are they in all of this?
Yeah, why did they just leave him with him?
Yeah. And that means if there was that many Zillas out there, like where's the parents and all that stuff? Where's this family of Zillas?
Maybe Bridezilla is a spin-off of this show, and that goes into it more. I know nothing about that show, so I can only assume.
Yeah, I'm gonna guess that Bridezilla has to be about another kaiju-ish figure.
Although it's never outright stated in the show, the crew befriended Godzilla by having rescued his nephew Godzuki once. So that means Godzilla owes them a life debt, and that's why he helps them out.
It's like a Wookiee life debt, basically.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Okay.
They saved Godzuki once, but then they put him in constant peril for infinity. So it's like, when does it kind of weigh out to where Godzilla's like, you know what, maybe I should stop helping you guys and just take my nephew with me?
I don't think they really put Godzuki in constant peril. I think that child, Heat, constantly put himself in peril, and then Godzuki always chose to put himself in peril because he always followed whatever Pete's doing.
Oh, yeah. Pete's a real screw up.
He's like that dumb kid from, oh man, what was it? Mask?
Mask, yes.
That kid that was always messing crap up and doing stupid things.
The kid who was
drunk.
Like, drunk. Yeah.
In that one episode,
asking his robot friend, "Hey, can you drive?"
Hey, you drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically this kid. So yeah.
Oh, fun. But had you ever seen this show before?
I feel like I had, but I don't remember it. I just remember an old Godzilla cartoon. I remember that existing. And I remember having seen an old Godzilla cartoon, but I don't remember anything about the story, the plot, the characters, anything else about it.
Yeah, it's kind of same here. Like, I've seen this show before, probably not all of it, but just bits and pieces here and there on Cartoon Network. And none of it's very memorable except Godzilla being, I remember Godzuki specifically, unfortunately, and that was about it.
Yeah, my guess is where I saw it was TNT.
Oh, yeah? Okay.
Is doing like, because they did the marathons and stuff like that. And I know that this was part of some of the Godzilla marathons. They would do the cartoon and stuff. So
yeah. I had seen it like, I think in the 90s at some point on Cartoon Network, because it was in all kinds of specials or power hours and stuff. So
oh, yeah, sure.
It got blended into a lot of things.
Well, while Godzilla may be huge, the favor I'm about to ask you is not. And that's to please share this episode on social media by hitting the share button on your favorite podcast app and tagging any friends or others that share the same interests as you. Easy, right? So you have no excuse unless you have no social media. And in that case, you are either highly evolved or way behind the times. Not quite sure which.
So let's go and jump into the episodes for today's show. And the very first one was The Firebird, Season 1, Episode 1, where Captain Majors and his crew travel to the center of a dormant volcano to investigate what's causing nearby eruptions. I'm going to say right now, every episode is pretty much the same.
Yeah.
As far as like what happens, it's like weird weather pattern. They investigate and monster appears. They call Godzilla.
That much is true. That's pretty much how it goes. They call Godzilla twice in each episode. Like, Godzilla, save us, do this. Monster retreats for whatever reason, or they lose track of monster. They try to come up with some sort of plan to stop the monster themselves. Plan doesn't work right. They call it Godzilla again.
Yeah, like they think they have it under control, but it's never under control because it's only about 10 minutes in.
Oh, yeah. How much do you enjoy the theme song of this show, though?
Oh, man, the theme song's pretty great.
Yeah, it is good.
Up from the depths, 30 stories high, breathing fire, his head in the sky, Godzilla.
And Godzuki. Yeah, oh, man. I'm like, I struggled a little bit with some of this. Here's the one thing that was really weird to me is how they get a hold of Godzilla. They've got like the Captain Majors. He's got like a smart belt. He's got a belt with a little contraption on it, and he presses a button on his belt, and Godzilla just knows to show up and knows what's up. And
it's pretty much a pager. And Godzilla is always like super close. So he's like, oh, hey, what's up, y'all?
But it's like, I mean, with how pagers work, you have to have, you got to have some kind of receiver. So it's like, Godzilla have a belt too? Does he have something? How does he know where to go?
Maybe Godzilla let them plant something inside of him, like a little dart. And it when they push the button, it like shocks him a little bit. He's like, oh, okay, got to help the humans. Oh, yeah. My life debt. Yeah.
Dang humans again. Every time.
The monster in this one, though, is a Firebird, literally, as the title suggests, which is basically Rodan, but it's not Rodan. So I'm going to call him Fodan, because Rodan like comes from, like, he also like nest in volcanoes. So it's like, this is the equivalent, except Rodan can't breathe fire or whatever. This is basically like their excuse for, it's like, well, we didn't use the exact character, but here's a knockoff version of the character you know and love.
Yeah, but they didn't do any of the cool stuff that Rodan does. Like, it doesn't ever come out and fly and like destroy things just by flying over it or do any of that cool stuff. It just kind of screams a lot and really annoys you.
Yeah. I mean, all this bird wants to do is migrate to the cold for some reason, which I would think if you live in a volcano, cold of that temperature would probably kill you, I would imagine, because it's so starkly different.
I am a bird made of fire. I better go lay my eggs in the coldest place I could possibly go.
Yeah.
The design isn't great either, to be honest. It looks like a fire turkey.
It's pretty generic, yeah.
Or like a vulture, more like, I guess. Like a vulture crossed with a pterodactyl.
Fire vulture, yeah. It's Fodan. They go inside the volcano to investigate. They don't have any equipment on whatsoever. No breathing mask or anything.
Because like before they go in there, this volcano is like, there is stuff coming out of this volcano. And like even the child is like raising his suspicions about whether this is a good idea, and the Captain Majors is just like, don't worry, he's a geologist. He won't do anything foolish. And then they immediately walk into this active volcano with fire and lava shooting everywhere. No equipment, no protective gear, no nothing. They just walk in and somehow don't burst into flames and die. And they can breathe fine.
Yeah, they're fine. But what's his name? The kid, Pete. He is on the other side of the volcano. And they're just like, Pete, you got to get over here. Have Godzuki fly you over. And Godzuki, they already know, like, his flight abilities are not wonderful.
Sucks. Yeah,
he
almost dies.
He has like a pretty good failure rate, and he almost gets like sucked right into the lava here. He swoops so low down, like there's no way Pete could have survived that or would have at least passed out from heat exhaustion. He makes it to the other side, but it's just like watching them put him in peril, but they're so confident in Godzuki. Even while Pete's on his back, he's just like, you got this, Godzuki. It's like, well, yeah, I have to get it or else we're both dead.
Or we die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the motivation. I got to do this or we're both dead. At one part, Pete's like driving or piloting, I guess is the word, piloting a helicopter by himself.
Yeah.
I'm like, who gave this child a helicopter? He's like 8. And he's just like, well, I guess I'll just take this giant thing of machinery, that you need a license for. I'll just go drive it around, do whatever. It's fine. I got this.
The Firebird pretty much just shrieks at Godzilla. That's its thing. Godzilla tail whips it a couple times.
Yeah.
He starts throwing some sumo palms out and trying to wrestle it, but I don't know. Eventually, a laser eyes it.
Well, and then he drowns it.
Oh yeah, I guess that's really the resolution here is like he wrestles, or like they're fighting underwater. He traps it in a cave or backs it into a cave. Godzuki knocks like a rock down accidentally that falls in front of the cave, which gives Godzilla the idea. He's like, oh hey, I could probably block this whole cave off if I put more rocks.
It's like, oh snap.
And so he does, and then traps it down there, presumably to die, because I don't know that it was ever presented that this bird can breathe underwater.
I am not a bird scientist, but I don't think birds breathe underwater.
Especially firebirds, which is strange that it's still on fire even underwater.
Yeah, I wouldn't think a firebird. I mean, we thought they probably wouldn't do well in the Arctic, but it proved us wrong there.
True. This is just the Phoenix, so it's constantly burning.
Unless it's just a real foolish firebird. Like maybe it's like the kaiju equivalent of like the dodo bird. Like it's just dumb. So
maybe
it doesn't
that's why
know
it's the
any
last
better.
of its kind. Like they're just not a smart species.
No, it didn't know any better. So it flew to like the ice and then it went underwater and it was like, yeah, we're fine.
That's the resolution essentially. And then you always have to have those like things at the end where Godzuki does something dumb and everybody laughs at it. So in this one, he's just coming in towards the boat super fast. So there's like, slow down, Godzuki. And he crashes into the water, but then they punish him by making him not get on the boat and just kind of tug him behind it.
Yeah.
As the episode ends.
And then you gotta laugh at his misfortune.
Yeah.
Laugh at his shame.
The next episode we watched for today's show was The Magnetic Terror, which was my pick, season 1, episode 10. And I chose this because a giant turtle-like creature attacks an oil rig in Antarctica. So I chose this because this giant turtle-like creature is basically fake Gamera. And that's how I'm going to treat it. And I actually kind of liked this episode for what it was. Not as him being any kind of Gamera equivalent.
Oh,
but
yeah.
I think he was a pretty cool looking monster.
He was nothing like Gamera. He was interesting. He was a better design than our Fire Vulture and the next monster we get.
He also got, like, he became gigantic, like so big that he could, like, eat Godzilla.
Yeah, he was huge. He was eating a lot of stuff, too, which was kind of fun. I'll give him that. He definitely posed like the most threat, I guess out of all the ones that we saw.
So this guy, Eddie, he's flying in this foggy weather and he's talking to one of his friends on the intercom telling him like, I've never lost a plane. And then he's like, oh no, I'm losing the plane because it starts to get sucked down by this magnetic pull. So he has to bail out. And he crash lands near the Calico, which is the mystery machine of this show.
The ship, yeah.
They let him on. He tells them about, that this magnetic pulse came down. We see magnetic Gamagnet, I don't know. We see this turtle dude eat a plane. And we see him eat his plane. Like, so we're like, oh, okay. So the threat is this turtle has this magnetic force and he's pulling everything towards it. The Calico is going through the fog as well. They pick up Eddie and they are just trying to figure out where this magnetic pull is coming from at first. And then once they find that out, try to save this oil refinery in the South Pole that it is destroying.
Yeah. So this big old turtle boy goes up and starts destroying this oil refinery. He's eating everything. There's a big old oil spill that gets into the water and everything. Godzilla ends up lighting it and setting it all on fire, which surrounds the boat with everybody on it. So at some point, Godzilla has to stop fighting Big Turtle Boy and go rescue, his friends that he just put in danger. Which I thought was funny because they're like cheering him on. I'm like, he almost got you killed. and then they're like, yeah, Godzilla, you did it. And I'm like, he sure did almost do it. Yeah. He almost got you killed, but sure.
I love the look that the turtle gave him as he was leaving to go save his friends. Because he's just like, dude, we are fighting right now. You're just walking away.
Yeah. Dude, there are all of the characters, the monsters included, get some pretty doofy looks in the animation sometimes. There was one in here specifically with Godzilla where he's they're trying to do this thing where Godzilla is looking from like side to the viewer, like so us as the audience. But the way that they animated it was so bad. Like, okay, so if you are picturing Godzilla, you can kind of get in your head the placement of his eyes, right? You know, they're kind of on the side of his head.
Yep.
But when he faces the camera, they shift his eyes during that animation and give him like the Sonic the Hedgehog connected eye thing, like as he's facing the camera. And so when he shakes his head back and forth in that scene, it happened like 3 times where his eyes would connect and disconnect. It was so gross. I was like, ew, why?
That's like the scene in the first episode where he puts Godzuki up on that like ice on that glacier, and then you see him smile. It is so disturbing to see Godzilla smile like that.
Yeah. It's like when you see a dog try to smile and you're like, So at one point, when they're trying to figure out what to do about this turtle thing, the group splits up. Captain Majors and Brock take a mini sub under the water. They get stuck between these 2 big iceberg things. And what was cracking me up, they get stuck there. And like Captain Majors, this is the captain. He's supposed to be making the rational decisions.
Yeah.
This man starts just trying to open this sub under the water.
Yeah, they are so deep down. And he's like, I can't open the escape hatch.
He has no gear on. It's not like he's got scuba suits. And plus, regardless, that pressure would destroy this man. But he's just desperately trying to open this door.
when they're describing their situation and he's like, oh, we're stuck in a crevice, what else could go wrong? Brock says. And Captain's just like, we're losing oxygen. He's just very direct about it. They're thinking they're gonna die right here, and this actually is where it got kind of serious, because the captain and Brock are ready to just sacrifice themselves to stop this turtle. Honestly, I don't know what their plan was, if they were even going to, if they had even reached the turtle, like on their little sub, what were they going to do about it?
I don't think they got that far into the plan. I mean, they even eventually do reach the turtle because the turtle just comes by and swallows them.
Oh, and eats them, yeah.
Yeah, he does eat them. But like, good thing that turtle has no digestive system, because
nope, it all just hangs out in there.
Everything stays completely intact inside this turtle. It's great. Yeah, that was fun. Eventually, turtle resurfaces on top of the ice, which is where Dr. Quinn,
Medicine
and
Woman,
PR, and Godzuki, Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman. Yeah. The captain cannot summon, he can't get his eye belt to work to summon Godzilla from inside
all the
turtle.
magnets.
Yeah, there's too many, it's too magnetic. So Godzuki screams till Godzilla shows up. And when Godzilla pops through the ice, he's like slipping and sliding everywhere, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, the best entrance ever.
It was a weird kind of moment of like, I don't know, like I thought they were going to do some sort of gag with it. Like he pops through the ice. It looks like he starts sliding a little bit. And I thought maybe he was going to slip and like crash into the monster. But no, he gets his footing immediately and they just start fighting like a regular fight. And I was like, oh.
I think it was just to add some levity to the fact that, the captain and Brock just talked about having to sacrifice themselves. You're like, well, let's just make Godzilla slip around. That'll be fun.
Yeah, the kids will feel better about, mortality if we show them Godzilla fall on the ice a little bit. The turtle basically, we've talked about its magnetic powers. It starts feeding basically off the magnetic pole of the South Pole where they are, and it gets bigger the more it absorbs. So Godzilla really doesn't have a chance at this point. It's just too big. So Dr. Quinn's plan is, let's lure him to get directly over the South Pole so that he gets more power, and then maybe that will stop him if he gets too much. I mean,
yeah, she was really
sure.
gambling with that idea. That was kind of a huge assumption.
I mean, because there's two ways to look at this. There's two ways. One is if we want to metaphor this thing, it's like, okay, if you think about it as, okay, it could be the quintessential idea of if we feed him too much, like in the sense of like food, his stomach's going to get too full and he's going to go pop, because you only got so much room. But it also could be like think about him as a weapon instead. And if we're just loading him with more and more ammo, he's just going to get more dangerous. So thankfully for them, it was the other way.
Yeah, it was, luckily it worked out because there wasn't really anything else they could do. Godzilla was at this creature's mercy. It was literally about to eat him. And then they're just like, well, there's absolutely no way to save. They're trying to get Godzilla to stop like attacking like too much because he didn't want to kill the captain and Brock, but they're just like, no, he has to save the world.
Yes.
So again, they're so ready. At least the captain's very ready to sacrifice himself. He's just kind of dragging Brock along into it. And Brock's just like, yeah, I guess.
Yeah,
I guess whatever the captain
Brock's
says.
like, I mean, I feel like we could come up with, give me a little bit of time here. I got some figures over here. No, Brock, we need to
We're going to die heroes. Yeah.
We're going to die right now. Brock, give me my knife just in case.
Yeah.
And when our turtle friend explodes, all the undigestive things inside him go everywhere. It's like entire houses, cars, buildings, all in complete, like, I don't know, just completely untouched, like their pristine condition. They just go flying all over.
He eats like a duck, but a duck with no digestive system. He just swallows.
Yeah.
And to close out this episode, Godzuki is messing with Pete using a giant magnet on a mop bucket and then gets the mop bucket on his snout. And everybody laughs about it. At Godzuki's misfortune. And that's really kind of how the episodes end.
Yeah, we got to laugh at something he does.
So the last one we watched for today's episode was The Moonlode, Season 2, Episode 8, which was the highest rated.
I don't know why.
I don't know why either. I feel like the turtle episode was better than this one, but,
way better.
Subjective. A mysterious creature from the moon lands on Earth and starts a chaos. That's written weird. The team and Godzilla have to stop it because it's affecting the water currents globally.
He's causing a chaos. Get Godzilla over here.
He started a chaos. Call Godzilla.
Stop that chaos. Yeah, there's supposed to be a lunar eclipse, so they're like looking at the moon, and coincidentally, right as they're looking at it, there's a moonquake, and then a meteor shoots down into the ocean, and then there's a whirlpool. And there's like some sort of weird gravity thing going on between the moon and where that whirlpool is.
Yeah, it's basically the magnet episode, except it's gravity this time pulling everything in.
Yeah, things are being sucked into the whirlpool, lots of ships. Godzilla's got to save the ships. Big moon monster pops out, looks kind of like, I don't know, like Beast Man, but blue. And he's got lights all over him, like those touch lights.
He's like a gravity gorilla kind of. I think they call him Gravity Goliath. I think Brock does. Not
till like towards the very end of the episode do they actually name this thing.
Well, I guess Brock does. Nobody else agrees with him or says anything. Yeah. So
I like that. I like the idea that Brock names it, but no one else likes what Brock is doing.
So they just don't respond to him.
They're just like shaking their head at him like, no.
Oh, Brock.
Don't do this. Godzilla comes out to fight. Godzilla's not really winning, but then the lunar eclipse happens, and then our Gravity Goliath pieces out for a little bit.
Well, it got a little confusing here to me because like the eclipse started, and then they were saying
they messed up those lines bad.
Yeah, because they were saying, "Oh, it's powering him up," and then it like cuts to commercial or whatever, and then it's like. When it comes back, the eclipse is over the moon, and it's like, oh, now it's powering him down. It cut off
now that he's weak
lunar
from
energy.
The eclipse. Yeah. I was wondering about that too. They screwed that up really bad. It was very confusing. I don't remember exactly what they're trying to come up with some sort of plan to stop this thing.
They're trying to lure him towards the sea lab
that
they're at with the mini sub.
Yeah.
Brock was going to pilot it.
But instead,
And
Pete goes
then-
in and starts.
Yeah, Pete goes in to check it for him and somehow is like just mashing buttons on the dashboard and accidentally pushes the start button. He's like, oh no, I pushed the start button.
Yep.
Because he was really wanting to go himself, and now he gets to. They're all just like, Pete took it over. We'll never get him back before. And they're just like, don't worry about it. Pete's got this. Captain Major is just like, Pete can do it. Like, it's all resting on Pete now.
Yeah, Pete can do it.
I think Captain is just always ready to sacrifice something, whether it's himself, Brock, Pete, whatever.
I like the idea that the captain just makes up like a backstory for Pete just to justify it or something. Like, Pete can do it. He's Navy SEAL trained. All 8 years that he's been on this earth, he's been training.
Training since birth.
Yeah.
Captain, that's absolutely not true. Quiet.
Yeah. It's silly.
Yeah, so
Gets caught in the gravity beam,
just have
all that stuff.
They just have Pete literally go towards the gravity Goliath, and he starts pulling him in, which was the plan. And so they're like, Pete, turn around, like use your afterburners. So Pete starts piloting the sub back towards the gravity, or not back towards the C lab, and he's still getting pulled in by the gravity ray. So Godzuki again kind of saves the day with the rock by accidentally kicking it up, and then it blocks off the gravity beam for a second and lets Pete get away.
Yeah. And so Pete drives back to the C lab. The creature eventually follows, and they blast him with a whole bunch of, what do they call them? Force rays?
Yeah, force rays.
They have a whole bunch of force rays. They have got force ray 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And that doesn't do anything. So they're like, our plan sucks. Call Godzilla again. But
Dr. Quinn just like, Brock, are you putting all the power you have into these gravity or into these force rays? And it shows him like turn one dial, like clicks it over. He's like, yep, that's it.
Brock needs a new job, man. He needs better. He deserves
Brock
better.
is like, if you compare this to Johnny Quest, like Brock is the Race Bannon of this crew.
Like, they don't deserve Brock. Like,
no,
Brock
is the
so
most likable.
But they can't call Godzilla again because they need to switch service providers or something.
Like last episode, it was interrupted by the magnetic field. Now it's interrupted by the gravity field.
Yeah, because we know how gravity affects your cell service.
Yeah. And so they have to get Godzuki to call his uncle again. And his calls are some of the worst. He's like,
What's worse, though, Godzuki's noises or Godzilla's? Because Godzilla always sounds like an old man in pain. Like, every time Godzilla shows up, he just sounds like he's getting up off of the couch that he's been on for like 30 straight hours and his back hurts. Godzilla throws the creature into space.
Well, the Dr. Quinn makes sure to correct Pete when he says that, because he's like, well, Godzilla helped, but the moon's gravity like caught the gravity Goliath in it and pulled it back up. It's like, oh, that makes even less sense. You should have just stuck with Godzilla, threw it back to space.
that moon's very concentrated gravity beam, reached down and caught this monster and pulled him right back to the moon, I guess.
And now he'll never be a threat again.
Yeah, until the next moonquake.
Well, looks like it's about time we ship our inner kids off on the Calico to find out if they too could end up having Godzilla owe them a life debt, or at least snatch that pager from Captain Majors, then see what they thought of the show, Godzilla.
Dang, this show is crazy with all the random weird monsters just popping up all over the place that Godzilla gets to, murder or throw into space. I mean, what more could you want? Aside from that belt. Is that something that we have in the future? Belts that can just call whoever we want?
Even though pretty much the same stuff happens in every episode, and Godzilla's roar needed to be less lurch and more leather glove dragged across a double base, I still had an okay time with this show. Where else am I going to get to see personal favorites like Almost Rodan or Sort of Gamera?
Oh boy, this show, buddy, this show. What'd you like about it?
Okay, I had to think about this, but I I really think that the voiceover cast, like, did a pretty stellar job with the material they were given. If you're not thinking so much about Godzilla and Godzuki, I mean, those are both great actors in their own regards, but I think that they were just told to do these sort of roars or to Scooby-Doo it for Godzuki, to where those weren't as great. But I think all the human voice characters like did a really good job of convincing you that they were in the constant peril that they were in.
I didn't think about that, but I agree 100%, honestly. Like, looking back, the voice cast actually nailed it really well. Like, the human cast and everything, they did a really good job. So, yeah, I think that you definitely have something there. I definitely have no complaints about them at all.
A like that I think you'll agree less with is the animation. I think for its time was fine. And I mean, like, Godzilla and Godzuki do have really goofy looks every now and then, but overall it was fine. Like, it very much reminded me again of Johnny Quest in that regard, the animation style. The backgrounds weren't as great, but they also weren't just like super simple either. They were just like those painted backgrounds, but I think it was pretty decent animation wise.
I actually do agree with that.
Okay.
It's not the best animation, but it is not anywhere near as bad as other shows from that era. So, like, I do think that we have to give them credit for that, even when we do see some of the goofy faces and stuff. But, like, we weren't seeing, like, weird misplaced frames, and, like, we weren't seeing colors get mixed up, and we weren't seeing, you know, body parts disappear and like stuff like that. Like, those are mistakes that we see a lot from that era of animation. We didn't see that at all in the episodes we watched. So I think that is actually kind of a testament to, even if it's not, you know, the best thing that we watched, they did, you know, put some thought and some care into, you know, actually producing it.
Yeah, and I think like it's one of those things, if I went back to it, or if they went back to it and actually added in, you know, some of the monsters that I know and love, like, you know, Rodan, Gamera, Ghidorah, stuff like that. Well, I know it won't be Gamera because he and Godzilla never cross over, but like Ghidorah and stuff, or Megalon, those, I think I would like to see them animated in that style. Like, I didn't have any problem with the character animations or the monster animations. It was more the product itself, I guess.
I also wanted to point out, too, that I think the format of the show is okay, aside from the very predictable plots for each episode. But I mean, as in like how the show itself is laid out, I think it definitely fits the mold for what was popular at the time, especially from something like the Hanna-Barbera camp. You've got, you know, your transient team of humans. You've got a silly animal-based sidekick. In this case, it's Godzuki. And then you've got the monster of the week thing. That is very cookie cutter Hanna-Barbera-esque from that time period. I mean, if I was saying those exact same things out of context, you'd be like, oh, he's talking about Scooby-Doo. You know, it's like the same kind of stuff. That was their
or
shtick.
Any other show from that time.
Yeah. What sets this apart is we also get Godzilla added to the mix, which is cool because that means we get big kaiju fights added into a very Scooby-Doo kind of like premise, which is pretty sweet. So I think that the idea of the show is actually pretty spectacular. You know, the execution, I don't think was 100% there. I think they could have done way more with it. And I think that the writing per episode was kind of lazy. But yeah, I like the overall thought process as to like what they attempted to do, for sure.
Yeah, this would be kind of like if Godzilla had a band, like it would fit right in with a lot of those shows too.
Yeah, Godzilla would be the drummer or something.
Yeah,
you know,
exactly.
Like
It would be
Jabberjaw.
Jabberjaw then, yes.
Love it. So what are some of your dislikes? I think there's some pretty glaring ones. Like, one that I want to throw out there is something you kind of touched on. The biggest disappointment for me is you don't get any of the amazing rogues gallery of other monsters at all.
Nope.
You just get a bunch of new ones, and that could have been okay. Like, it could have been okay getting new monsters if they were memorable, but most of these were not memorable. They weren't even really named that often aside from their descriptions. I mean, the one time we got a name was, we mentioned Gravity Goliath, and that name was only mentioned once, and it was kind of brushed off. And that is one of the huge draws to the Godzilla franchise for me, and I know many others, is, the idea of Godzilla going up again in these epic battles against other monsters, that carry a very similar weight. So yeah, it's hard to feel it's hard to feel excited about like a Godzilla property when there's no there's no Mothra, there's no Rodan, there's no Mecha Godzilla, there's no, big threat that holds the kind of weight as a challenge for Godzilla, because it's always just going to be a random monster that is going to be done by the end of the day and won't come back.
Yeah, there's not even like two-parters or anything to elongate any of that. It's just like, the monster's a one and done, so you aren't invested in them at all.
Yeah.
I agree. I mean, that's my biggest dislike too, really, is I know due to rights and stuff, they couldn't really utilize all the good aspects about the Godzilla franchise, mostly including the well-known monsters. And, they have to stray away from the radioactive stuff that was caused by humans because, it would be really heavy to have a cartoon blaming humans for things for kids to watch. So it's more of a Godzilla cartoon in name only than anything else, because everything about Godzilla, even him being sort of an enemy to humans, generally speaking, because of the mistakes that we've made, is all taken out of it. All his monsters taken out. So it's really just Godzilla as a pal. It's my pet Godzilla, basically. And That's it. So that's obviously the most glaring issue with the whole show, lazy writing and some of the episodes aside. I think there are some gems in there as far as some of the episodes go, or maybe even some of the ideas for the monsters. But again, they just have to be over with so quickly that they don't really get time to flesh out these ideas that could have been so much more.
Yeah, or like giving a little bit more origin or mythos or something to these monsters.
At least give them proper names. Bless Brock for trying, but nobody was really jumping along with them.
They're like, shut up, Brock.
Quiet,
you nerd.
Yeah.
My only other dislike, and it probably was a copyright thing. I say this is my only other dislike. There's other things I dislike, but this is the glaring one. No classic Godzilla roar sound effect.
Oh, yeah.
And that hurts, man. That hurts. I don't want to see a Godzilla that can't make that classic roar.
If you told somebody like right now, hey, do a monster roar real quick, like it would probably be equal to or greater than the roar that they gave Godzilla.
He doesn't have any real good roars. It's more grunts and monster groans.
He's just in pain. He's just aging.
He's just so tired.
Yeah.
He's so tired of these humans and his life right now. So.
And I guess dislike wise, since we're still on that, I'll say like, don't give Godzilla laser eyes or a flame breath. At least if you're going to do that, color the flames blue. Let us pretend it's plasma or radioactive stuff. But the laser eyes just made no sense. And it was just to give him more ranged powers, I guess. So he wasn't always just like breathing fire and wrestling.
What else would you do? Like, let's say if we could go back in a time machine and sit in a room with these people and be like, hey, like what you started with, but I think we've got some notes here to help you out. What else would you say that you think would maybe improve this? I think one of the other things I would say is like, can we pick more environments than just the Arctic Ocean?
Yeah,
because that's all we got, and and maybe there are a few episodes that do that, but I mean, there's not very many episodes of this show, and the 3 random ones we got, they're always in the Arctic Ocean, so that doesn't bode well.
I think maybe having some monsters come in who could also potentially be allies to Godzilla against a greater threat could have been cool. I mean, that feels like it would have had to been a 2-parter, just because you would have had to introduce this new monster, find out that it's not a foe, and then help Godzilla out. Maybe it could be a Mothra equivalent, maybe like a butterfly thing or something.
Oh my gosh, yes.
But just to have some kind of like other monsters thrown in there. I think even with the monsters being like knockoffs of the other ones, it's like more monsters would have helped the show, I think. Even though the humans did a great job with their acting, the stars of the show are really the monsters in any kind of Godzilla property. So it's like,
Yep.
just give us more of that. That's what kids want to see anyway. They are not interested in the human perils as much as they are monster battles.
Oh, never. And anytime like somebody makes a new Godzilla movie, like usually my biggest criticisms are like, man, like there's so much human drama. I just want to see Godzilla fight some big old monsters. I don't care what all these humans are mad about. Like, get them out of here. I just want to see monster fights. Come on.
Exactly.
So yeah,
that would be my big suggestion.
Yeah, and I feel like they could have at least done some more like nods to, you know, the property and stuff. You know, at least include, you know, some monsters that are more direct parallels to
like they could have had like
creatures.
a jet jaguar or something called like airplane cougar or something, but just like a knockoff where it's like wordplay.
But something that like, you know, the fans get it. Like I would love to have seen like at least as a nod to like King Ghidorah, like some sort of Hydra kind of monster or something.
Just anything with
that would have been great.
Three-headed dragon, even if it was a different color entirely, could have been like, oh, that's Ghidorah. Yeah.
Yep. You know, just so that we know, you know, what they're going for. I mean, it's not that much different, I would assume, than like you take a TV show like Arrow and you only call him Arrow, but we all know he's the Green Arrow.
Yeah.
You just don't use the word Arrow. Or like you don't use green in there, you just call him Arrow. So it's like, you know, doing something like that, I think would have gone a long way for me for sure if they can't straight up use those characters.
Agreed. So what would you rate this overall?
You know, I think that while it was a fun jaunt down memory lane, seeing Godzilla kind of used in this sort of old cartoon, you know, heroic kind of way, but I was very underwhelmed by most of it. I was bored through some of the episodes, and just, you know, we've exhausted the topic about like how the baddies just were not memorable like whatsoever, you know. And as a kid though, like I think kids would have a decent enough time with it as long as they're familiar with Godzilla. I think kids would have fun. But even as a kid, I was very invested in his Rogues Gallery too. As a 6 or 7 year old, I knew Ghidorah and Mothra and Rodan and all of those things. So I think even some kids could be disappointed by not seeing their favorites show up. So it's not a show that I would want to revisit again for sure. So I gave this cartoon 2.5 bowls of Smart Belt cereal out of 5.
Yeah, overall, I'd give Godzilla 2.5 big bowls of Fodan flake cereal out of 5. And I think that, like, if you're as big a Godzilla fan as I am, you're not missing much by skipping out on this one, just because there's nothing Godzilla about it except the character Godzilla, unless you really want Godzuki thrown into your world. But actually, you know what? Watch one episode of it, like, which you can do on the official Toho Godzilla YouTube channel. Actually, they have a few episodes on there. Like, you'll pretty much have seen them all after that. Like, you'll know the formula and you'll decide whether you like it or not based on that. There are some decent ones in there, but not enough to bring me back either. I'm just going to stick to the movies.
Yeah, I think the movies are pretty much where it's at. Not all the movies, but most of the movies are where it's at.
Yeah, true.
Before we get out of here, we got a couple 5-star reviews with some nice little comments here for us. So I will go ahead and read those. Let's see. We've got a 5-star review from Monster Mailman. Hey, we know who that is. He's very active on our Instagram and stuff. And our Twitter. We've talked with him before. He says, my favorite cartoon pod. Retro are the best, but all episodes are great, especially the ones I've suggested. Nice. He has suggested some really good ones. I think his username changed at one point. So I think some of the other episodes he might have suggested, I think he originally suggested under a different name.
Yeah, I think it was like New Jersey something.
Like NJ Horror, I think.
Yeah, that sounds right.
Yeah, I think we even still have in our document, we still have some of them listed as NJ Horror. And that's just too much work to keep track of everybody's usernames. So eventually you'll probably hear that name pop up again. Sorry, man. Another 5-star review. Okay, so this was I think this may have been an edited review. I don't know. I feel like it is, but I'm going to read it anyway. But I think someone edited this one.
Okay.
This is 5 stars from Estrella. Great podcast to have on my playlist for work. As a relatively new listener, I stumbled onto this podcast while searching for discussions about troll hunters, and I'd been having difficulty finding a review podcast that I liked enough to continue listening until I found this one. The discussions that Joseph and Chris have are entertaining, interesting, and well-rounded. They're both very good at picking out and analyzing details in the episodes they watched and are fair in pointing out both the positives and negatives. Their sense of humor is also appreciated and has provided me with a few much-needed laughs over some particularly rough shifts. Speaking of which, aside from getting a good laugh out of the Captain N episode, that one made me wonder if the guys might enjoy an anime series from 2017 called RE Creators. It comes with a similar, if reversed, premise of fictional worlds colliding as characters from various genres manifest in the real world. And then they go on to kind of describe it a little bit. It sounds kind of cool, though. They say thoughtful writing, great designs, amazing music, lovely animation. Even if it doesn't make the cut for the podcast, consider it. And they recommend it for the fun of it. So yeah, we'll definitely add that to our list. And it sounds fun. Like I love the premise of Captain N and just that idea in general. So combining anything is cool.
That was a big reason why I was a huge fan of Glitch Techs and have watched through that whole thing now. That review does sound familiar, not the last part of it, but the previous part, the part that was complimenting us before they suggested the show. Like maybe they added the show in the edit.
Yeah, I some of that sounded familiar too. I wanted to get that just in case it was in my head. Our last 5-star review is from Elipmad. Sure, Elipmad. I like this one. It says, "The Return of Sawboss." They say, "I know this is kind of cheating, but it is not an edited review. Over time, I had to get a new Apple ID, so you get a second 5-star review.
Hey.
I once again thank you for all the time and energy you put into these episodes. Also, thanks for doing my Jace and the Wheeled Warriors episode." Oh, yes. So everyone can thank Elipmad for the ongoing Sawboss joke that has been in in our show ever since we've done it. So it's great. They do have a few more suggestions to us that we will put into our poll. So Stunt Dogs and The Bots Master. They also say, "You keep making them, I'll keep listening. Your friend Brody, the Sawboss."
That's awesome. Thank you, Brody.
Thank
Thanks
you so
everybody
much,
for
Brody.
those awesome reviews.
Yeah, thank you everyone for the reviews and keep them coming. Keep them coming. We have 168 ratings right now. Quite a few of them do have comments, which is great because we love reading these, especially the nice ones. The mean ones are not super fun to read, but the nice ones are great.
Unless they're also 5 stars, then I'm very happy to read the mean ones.
It'd be funny. Yeah, it is kind of funny sometimes to like see a 5-star and then see people say rude things. Like they just call you out for being super Texan,
right?
Which is funny.
Oh yeah, I recall. And thank you, David Brown, for suggesting this. I don't know that I'll ever watch it again, but I'm glad I now know why I'm not going to watch it again.
Yeah, thanks, David. I mean, it was cool to revisit it anyway, because I mean, like no matter what, it brings back some sort of like memories and things like that from, childhood and stuff. And I think that that's really cool, regardless of if we like the show or not in the end. A show like that, that we've seen something of in the past, it still brings back some kind of fond and fun memories. So no matter what, it's still a good time.
Absolutely.
Plus, we get to laugh at the silly stuff.
Yeah, we get to laugh at Godzuki's misfortune.
Godzuki, you dummy.
Well, listeners, looks like our milk supply is now run dry, so it's time for us to say goodbye. And in 2 weeks, for the second episode of our OCTOONBER celebration, we'll be watching
Costume Quest, submitted via YouTube by GamerSlyRatchet1.
Nice. Costume Quest. I thought that was just a game.
It is also a cartoon through Amazon Prime, I believe. I think it's a Prime original.
Is it based off the game?
It is absolutely based off the game.
Oh, cool. All right.
Yeah, I'm really excited. And most likely we will be playing Costume Quest on Twitch at some point. this October as well.
I hope so.
I think we have both games, don't we? I think we
I
have
think so. Yeah.
1 and 2. I've played a little bit of 1 once before just to get a feel for it. I don't remember much about it other than a few specific things, but I don't want to ruin anything. So, yeah, I'm excited to watch the show, to play the game. I just want to absorb it because from what I understand, it's about kids and trick-or-treating and stuff, and that all sounds fun to me.
Yeah, especially this. I mean, really any month for me, but especially this month.
Especially this month. Ooh, spooky.
Ooh, once again, I'm Joseph.
And I'm Chris.
And we'll see you next Saturday.
Presented by Nerdsloth.
A place for lazy nerds.
If you like what you heard, consider donating at patreon.com/nerdsloth so we can continue bringing you quality shows. Be sure to also leave us a review and share your favorite episodes and clips on social media. If you're looking for more content, visit us at nerdsloth.com.